Greetings everyone, here's Lodrik and this is a game War in the Pacific Advanced Edition. And this is my play by email match against KilRoy. Today we will check the 11th December 1941. Is this scenario 1 day turn setup, and KilRoy is ally player, and for me the Empire of Japan. Yesterday we saw some minor bigger cruiser battle, roughly southwest of Mindanao. And maybe with favored outcome for my cruisers, but no decisive victory for anyone. So I heard and damaged Boise and some destroyers, but none of them sunk so far. Yeah, and the rest is continuously invasion and some navy bombardment and air bombardment in China. The typical stuff, I would say. Everything what happens must happen if you want to play with Japan and have a chance of a better outcome than the reality. So here's a light cargo ship, and my submarine still cannot get rid of it. Two more some torpedoes consumed. Here are this ongoing torpedo boat battles, cruisers, destroyers, whatever I throw on them. I can get rid of 1 or 2 torpedo boats per turn, 1 per day, but the rest is always escaping. So I think here is also no other outcome. The only advantage is that the torpedo boats, they only carry 1 torpedo. If they make 1 attack, it's over for them. So let's see how this ends. I only consuming here so many shells. And if I later really find a real target, and I may be out of shells, I must return to base. So 1 second. More or less now 2 are sunk, so better than before, but still 3 remaining. And something just hit a mine, and there was one of these Mark 14 submarines attacking my destroyers. Luckily it missed. But I also cannot create too much damage. But maybe this subs are already hurt, but no heavy damage. But maybe they are already slowed down. So the efficiency of the submarines are maybe already reduced. Now KilRoy try the second time the sneak attack with his high-speed torpedo boats, but this time I was better prepared, and I created a light cruiser interception task force in the Hicks. And light cruisers and I think destroyers are the main enemies of any torpedo boat, simply because they're matching the speed and maneuver value, so it's hard for a torpedo boat to find the target and attack it. And a 5-inch shell is of course always a killer for every torpedo boat, so I think maybe even 4-inch would be enough to kill one torpedo boat with 1 hit. But 5-inch for sure will do the job. Okay, you can see that I try to keep this 10,000 yard distance. I think the torpedo boat, the torpedoes of the PT boats, they have maybe a range of 8,000. I think this is the standard range of a torpedo at the time, if you don't have this Japanese long range torpedoes. So, but only 1 kill, still more to do. And here we find 3 American destroyers coming out. At least something more with value. One of the destroyers looks like have already heavy system damage. If you see this smoking without fire, then this is an indication, so far I understand, that it's a high system damage. What is now high system damage? I also cannot tell you if it's 25 or even 50. But must be something. but it's still a nighttime engagement and destroyer against destroyers. Still no high chance to really hit something. And all of my torpedoes are wasted here, maybe. So long the British and American forces also have the same problem, they cannot make a torpedo hit, it's fine. I'm a little tired of this dojo Jochen experience that I threw 10 torpedoes in the water and nothing hit. And the British make one hit and immediately have one torpedo, one hit, and then always thinking one of my good first class destroyers or cruisers. But of course it's purely luck. I would say that the hit chance is maybe maximum 5% for surface torpedo, but it's always related to what you are attacking. Here's one torpedo hit on an already damaged destroyer, so this destroyer is going down, and this one. So 90% or even more is no hits. So you can see one hit on my light cruiser. I make two 5-inch hits on the destroyers. The one destroyer also get a torpedo. Oh no, only one shell hit, haha. So one shell hit for both sides. And one torpedo hit. The torpedo hit is the instant kill. So still two destroyers left. So engaged against these torpedo boats. The naval eyes are surprised. Okay. My speed is now a little up. So one torpedo boat again. Very slowly but steadily. Your KilRoy is losing his light navy assets here at Manila. This is maybe the third attempt now to sink this light cargo ship, and at least here the S-157 was successful. Now the ship will go down. Here's a PG, but can survive or dodge the attack. So there's still a lot of navy activity, but it's early on, and yeah, you must press forward. The big question is always how fast and with how many units Japan have to push forward and try to intercept Allied shipping so early on. This British Dutch Air Force still waiting for maybe a crazy attack, and with a little luck can also damage and hurt some of the Japanese ships without air cover. Japanese flag is not really the best, yeah. So my ongoing amphibious assaults So KilRoy already tried to flee with his British base force from Brunei left over. Sure, maybe the jungle is the best option for every forces in Brunei. Again, third time engagement with PT boats. one more. I'm sure I'm out of shells. Yeah, so one sunk, one damage. These are my Minesweeper destroyers. This was the greatest success so far from KilRoy in the Nemesis Navy. Sunk 2 of my destroyer Minesweepers early in a confusion, messy night battle. But now I can get rid of these MTVs. And this, I don't know, battle number 4 today. This is now the end of this PT boat disaster or chapter. I mean, I lost 2 destroyer minesweepers. They are not high value ships, and of course they are never frontline units. They're only really good early on destroyer support escort ships, and for deep water. This is the benefit. You can get them early on with deep water equipment. So one more PT boat is done. And after, always the same, and again on only PT boats, we have now here some, I think a cargo ship and maybe a patrol boat, but, okay. Somehow maybe I'm out of shells, maybe this is, or they at least can escape. The allies see me first. This is a little strange, I would say. I have a cruiser here. No, my main purpose is for scouting. Yeah, okay. Lucky day for KilRoy. He can escape with his precious AO 3-point ship. But there's still the Air Force coming. After the Navy tried to clean up all the sea at the night and the early mornings, now my Air Force is taking off and scout and tell me again where is what left for the next night engagement, maybe soon. So the Vampire tried to escape to Surabaya, reported hit. I think the Vampire is the last of this 4 ships task force KilRoy used to mess up my landing in southern Borneo with mixed results. He was able to hurt the airfield and set back my air operation, I think. And I also lost some of my units, and I think they gets not destroyed but disabled. And one of my cargo ships, I think, also was damaged or destroyed later on. But at the end it was minimum damage on my side. And he lost 2 light cruisers and a destroyer so far. So maybe not the best outcome you can hope for, but that is on KilRoy how he uses his assets. If he go early on and try to strike like Jochen did early, very aggressive, and try to find the jackpot and pay the price later on and losing 10 cruisers and 20 destroyers in one night engagement with my battleships. I don't know more it was night engagement, but something like this. So the whole British, Dutch, American cruiser formation was destroyed in one big battle. But this is a Jochen game, so this is here now KilRoy. Here we have a little different action. Bettys without air cover flying low to avoid enemy cap fighter, and also trying to hit something. I have no torpedoes, so it's not so easy to really create a hit. So I lower my altitude from 7,000 to 5,000. This is maybe the best attack altitude to avoiding light flak, creating hits with horizontal attacks. You can always go to 2,000, then you have the best chance to hit something and still have maximum payload. But it will have always the downside that if there's any ship with flak, Betty's burning so easy. This is cannot change. Here out of Eva I gave my Navy bombers some escorts. Zeros can escort up to 11 hexes to have still normal range and not burn through their airframes and pilot fatigues. And it looks like that KilRoy have only let P-26 and second-class airframes in Philippines to at least force me to use some zeros here. A P-26 or a Hawk is maybe not more the best first-class frontline fighter like a P-40, but still capable of killing Betty Nells. So I have to keep here some zeros, and I also have no torpedoes, looks like. I don't know if my air HQ is maybe still on the way. So this is now out of 10,000 because this is related to my secondary task. I give my units always the task to make Navy attack first and scout. And secondary task is the attack on airfield Clarkfield. And airfield Clarkfield have heavy flak, or at least medium flak and a lot of flak. So I cannot go lower than 10,000 or I will have simply high flak losses if my secondary task will be active. So I must keep the 10,000. But if I have torpedoes, then it's okay because then I can give my bombers torpedoes the order to make Navy attack and secondary airfield attack on 10,000 feet. So if there's a Navy attack, I will drop automatically to 100 feet to make a torpedo attack. And if not, I keep the 10,000 feet and make a bombing strike on the airfield. So you need torpedoes to have the benefits for both low level attack plus high level airfield attack. Still some bombardment on Guam, only for why not? My support bombers are still at least doing something. Maybe 2 or 3 more turns or days. I will need to really bring my air forces, my air wings in China in position to have my normal striking forces here to support my land operations. You can see already every turn I increase a little the numbers of airplanes attacking ground forces. But it's still more or less all over the map, no focus points so far. Now it's only trying to create maximum damage, not to punch through some specific position I choose to create the breakthrough. My soldier is trying to find something to battle, but KilRoy is similar to Jochen, very inactive with any air force in China so far. Can be a trap, maybe he only wait long enough maybe he wanted to first train his pilots to get them a basic skill level. I'm really not sure how good is it. I mean, I know that the Chinese Air Force are lacking good equipment, and also that the pilots are for sure only second class or third class. So maybe he keeps and only use training and wait for maybe 43 if the first better airframes arrive. One bomber against two fighters, but the altitude difference and maybe the lack of radar allow me to make my strike, but I still hit nothing. So my second carrier division is now here at Billington, and at Osthaven there are some tankers. Tankers are burning easily if they have fuel loaded like here. So I put some submarines at the mouth of Palm Bing River port to make sure that there's nothing come out, and now I bring my carriers around to make also sure that Osthaven is not possible to use. Simply to make sure that at least it is very risky for KilRoy to operate any tankers or cargo ships at Source Sumatra, so that he cannot bring out oil, fuel or supplies. And if he try it, he can still try it, but then he's risky to lose his ships. So the Vendetta I already damaged last turn, and now my dive bombers I think finish them off. And the Vampire is also here, but still can escape any harm so far. But now luck runs out, and this is the first hit on the Vampire, and there's immediately the second hit, both penetration. Sure, destroys them with any armor deck. And this is now number 3 and 4. And you can see here is this really the difference. So far the destroyer have no damage. It has the maximum maneuver bonus and values. But once a ship is crippled and have slowed down because of engine damage or flooding, then it's really much more likely to create a hit. So both of the destroyers are doomed to sink or already on the bottom of the sea. This is my first support carrier division, or you can call it the third carrier division, is operating here in Celebes Sea. You only need to help my cruisers to finish off all the small cargo ships. KilRoy make very small task forces, but many of them, so it is not easy for my cruisers to really intercept them and finish them off. This is, I think, the task force my cruisers tried to engage before, but they was able to escape. But now my air force attention. So when they are dead in the water, so the KilRoy lets them run with maximum speed, burn all the fuel, and then he is forced to go with 1 hex per turn. Maybe his attempt was to run to Tarakan. You can see there are at least 4 task forces at this destination of Tarakan, and you also can see that there are some mines. And at the beginning of the turn we hear some mine hit, so maybe a ship in port of Tarakan hit a mine. This was my attempt that if I mine Tarakan and out of Miri, I can use my air force. Okay, I need maybe some zeros to cover this oil in the future. But this makes it very hard to use Tarakan for refuel. So the AO is dead and the PC is also dead. Again, 2 more ships less for the Allies. This is a little unlucky because my torpedo bombers have no escort, but again I come low. And maybe can... No. You can see the attack was... because I don't come from starboard or port side. If you make a torpedo attack, the game have always... There are 4 directions of attack. From a star, from port side, from starboard side, and from the rear or something like this. So, and you can only make a torpedo attack from port side and starboard side. If your air crew decide to make a frontal attack or from the rear, it's always a failure. But you will not consume your torpedoes. It's only a failed attack and will return to base. Of course, normally you can simply make a loop or try it again, but the game don't allow one attack run only for every airplane. So here are some Dutch bombers, the famous 300 kilo bomber. But I have here some Zeros and Peats and support. And KilRoy have no buffaloes in support here. Maybe a little out of range for the buffaloes. Oh, maybe not. Anyway, this attack is defeated. More ships are sinking. Maybe still Manila port. And it looks like that KilRoy used every port in Sumatra to load his ships with fuel or supplies and try to escape as much as possible. And this makes sense. It's more or less maybe not important for the Allies to really save the supplies in fuel and oil. It's more only to deny the access to the Japanese player. Because the Allies have unlimited supplies and fuel waiting in America or in Africa. You only must ship it. But the Japanese, of course, they're lacking everything. So now my sweeps over Clarkfield. Let's see, P-26, P-35. Normally no match for my Zeros. But like yesterday, if I only can damage them, then they're coming back day by day. I mean, sooner or later they have obstacles, but to quickly get rid of this and to make sure that there's simply no fighter more left in the Philippines to hurt my bombers, I need the kill. And not only damage. Now I come from behind, my pilot's coming from behind, and that is of course the beginning of the end of every pilot on the enemy side. Okay, so both of the P-26 are now officially destroyed. The pilot can still survive, but maybe the airframe is lost. And still some P-40s are here. Luckily they really are not good for intercepting. Or at least this far out of the base. They have no good chance to intercept. But also my navy attacks all failed. Again, tanker survived. Here now no air cover more. Scout is still here outside. This is a torpedo attack, so you can hear how the splash is coming. But all the torpedoes are missing. So waste a lot of torpedoes. Maybe 12 torpedoes in total, no hit. Of course, destroyers are really hard to hit with torpedoes. So Normally destroyers better attack with dive bombers, and everything was a capital ship or cargo ship you can, if you have the choice, using torpedo bombers. Good, this is the airstrike on Dark Field. Only to make sure that there's no construction work ongoing. And maybe damage, destroy some airplanes on the ground. Again, my crazy Bettys without any escorts. Sooner or later I know I will pay the price for this, and I think this happens now. Luckily the P-40 have engine damage, or engine problems. Yeah, this is now attack on Tarakan directly, I think, and maybe the P-40 is coming out of Tarakan, so it's much more likely to get here a successful interception. And my, the bomb hits or bombing runs are still without any positive outcome. So maybe I'd switch my Betty bombers in Miri not more to making navy attack, only for purely scout duty. Scout will also let me know where's enemy task forces, and then I can use my cruiser formations or my carriers to finish the ships. It's still too risky to really burn through my navy bombers without escort. Or I must bring zeros to me. This is also possible. Here you can see there are some warhawks coming from somewhere, I don't know where. But here is a battle and my carrier formation is here, so don't know. They normally don't have the range, so wherever I must find them, get rid of them. Important is that here's a fort. Was one of the survivors of this navy engagement last turn, but had already damaged and now is taken out by some dive bombers. Hopefully. Not crazy. Only one bomb hit, but now it's heavy fires and heavy damage, so at least I can hope that this ship will burn and sink without future impact from my side. And here are now my torpedo bombers coming and without any escort. Luckily all the P-40s have maybe already consumed some movement points. And these are navy pilots with very high skills, so they have the ability to hit something even with bombs. So one cargo ship, but only one cargo ship, so KilRoy really split up everything so that I have a hard time to kill them all. It's a slow progress, and I must really kill one ship after the next, one task force after the next one. But it's okay, I mean, this is fair. You can split up all your task forces, of course, because then every ship is on its own, no escort. If you find the ship, then it's easy kill. But it's simply much more complicated to kill them all. More unloading and versing. And now I'm arriving in Guam. Only light casualties. So this is south of Nanchang. You can see I want to make sure that this highway is blocked for every movement for the Chinese and also supply runs. This is a good standard victory. This is open terrain. There's no chance for the Chinese. And maybe KilRoy used more like the tactic that he don't move anything. He try to dig in every hex he stay and delay every possible movement for me in China. At least I see the tactic like this so far. He's not actively organizing his defense. He's only delaying. Mostly. Sometimes he's moving, but most of his units he keep and try to dig in. Yeah. This is on the other side of the river. Also victory for me. But with higher casualties on my side. Still acceptable. 26 disabled squads, okay. Here I try to get rid of this blocking force, because this is between Manchukuo, Beijing and Shanghai, the only railroad. And now the unit is officially destroyed. Good. So now I can ship supplies and units from Shanghai to Beijing and Manchukuo. This is the Battle of Hong Kong, the first Battle of Hong Kong. And not immediately success, but I was able to reduce the fort level. It's a clear advantage for me. The casualties are similar, but again, for me it's mostly disabled. Still, I need to recover these disabled units later on. And for KilRoy, the first units are already dying. Okay, so and with the attack power I have left, I can hope that already next turn maybe I am able to take Hong Kong. At least in 2 turns, I would say. If there's no fort level left, then it's normally not very big issue. This is the beginning of this mountain battles. There are many hexes with mountain and rough terrain, so every time it's in favor for the defender. And this forces the Chinese forces jumping to the north to Yinan. There's also all heavy terrain. Everything is slowing me down. Casualties are of course in favor now for me. This is okay. Only light disabled losses. Lingarian, so northeast of Clarkfield. Some Filipino divisions are here, trying to hold, and there's also some coastal battery. So this hex is normally similar to Iba, a great location to make the amphibious assault. I only don't, I choose not to attack at this hex this turn or this match, because there's this coastal battery. And coastal battery, if they are lucky, they really can create damage on your amphibious assault units and ships, and then simply they can create damage. And so I want to avoid this, so I took an Iba, there's no coastal battery, and also here northeast in San Fernando is no coastal battery. And I take Lingarian, and the Filipino divisions are already giving up because they have so low morale, not because they are defeated, but it's a morale victory. All 3 units immediately surrender. And normally there's only one division escaped from San Fernando, but I catch up and was faster. And on the way, this unit was maybe all on the way to Clarkfield, but I was faster. And I get rid of them, but I also have still disabled units here. But of course, I mean, 70 disabled units against nearly 500 destroyed and much more destroyed is a good outcome. Now we have the Battle of Mersing. There's this Australian units trying to hold, and they are also walking back, so you can see that the Mersing is no choice for KilRoy to defend. and I take the base. You can see he was moving and trying to escape with speed. And it's not a total clear victory. I have still 15 disabled units. Of course, more for the British or Australian units, but it's not that I walk over any units here. So because most of my units are also only Navy Guard units. They are not really hardcore fighting units. They are Navy light equipped, fast units to taking small undefended positions. And this is a, yeah, you can say it's a failure or not a failure. This is only here in the northeast of Nanking. This is this enemy HQ, Luzon war area, and I have only Chinese police force to fight with them. So there's no attack value on both sides. So it's this needs time to get a victory. Kaifeng, north of Rabaul, no defense, so there's normally a defense force. I think that's small detached, they're very small Australian units, but maybe KilRoy fly them out fast enough so I cannot catch them. I take only the base. And I am still bringing reinforcements to Rabaul. I only lend some emergent or some fast invasion fleet to mess up with every operation KilRoy maybe try here. But I'm still not in a position to attack Rabaul. This is the second railway because normally I don't need it now, but it's a connection between Shanghai and Kaifeng. And these Chinese units are both retreating to the west. You can see, jump out. There's no only light losses for me. Good. So, an active turn, of course, must be active. Many land battles in favor for me, but also more or less common, I would say. It is not that I really do something crazy. I maybe only do what is necessary to do. This is the time Japan must strike victory after victory after victory, and it is more or less you waiting that the Japanese fail somewhere, and like I lost 2 of my DMSs already, some of my cargo ships. Air losses are maybe light for me so far, but good. Let's check the intelligence report. Air losses today are so. I can get rid of this P-26, but they are really only training airplanes. Some seagulls, some destroyed on the ground. So this is an indication that maybe a cruiser sunk, because the seagulls are always part of a cruiser, American cruisers. These are the scouting airplanes. And ground is, or I kill the base and kill them on the ground. It's also possible. Anyway, my Betis, I lost 2 of my torpedo bombers, and this is more or less all, and the key 30, yeah. So all ops losses for me, and light losses for KilRoy, but no big change, I would say. Still, of course, 190 to 35 is a good kill ratio. More I cannot say about this. Ship sunk last turn. So it's not more the great numbers now, it's only many ships sunk. You can see many small low value ships, all these mini torpedo boats. You can see the PTs they have 1 torpedo, but 4 of them. So every torpedo tube have 1 torpedo, 4 torpedoes in total. They can shoot on my ships. And the British, they have only 2 torpedo tubes, and many of these light machine guns. I don't know what you will do with these light machine guns. Yeah. But this is the main difference between them. And I don't think that there's yeah, this is really the same ship. So the Q boats are from the Philippines Navy and the PT boats are from the US Navy. But the equipment is the same. And the rest is all small stuff, small stuff, small stuff, small stuff. Good. And this has a vendetta go down, but no information about the vampire. Good. And army losses are increasing for KilRoy. Here, this is army losses. So now we have roughly 500 to or 100 to 1 kill ratio. It is nice and good, and if I can keep this, it will be, of course, always welcome. But sooner or later, of course, KilRoy will also land a successful land battle, and then this maybe will change. Yeah, in China, there's still many pieces on the map. We can see that I try to create here now a movement force around 1000 attack value, lead by the HQ is still missing. So you can see that there's still so at the beginning it's really a race against time to create attack armies with meaningful composition. So HQ to support and heal units and lead them. This guy is now on the way, but I must change him because his land value are normally not the greatest. So maybe I normally won't have for every division or army commander normally at least something around 60, 65. I don't have so many with 70, so but maybe I will give this HQ a 70 general. You can see it's, but this costs 30 points. This is maybe a little much, so oops. Maybe I can take the lieutenant general, but also cost me 30. So depending who you want to replace, the cost of political points are different. And if you want focus for this, or if you maybe try something else, it's always where you want to spend your points. It's the player's choice. But in the long run, it will help maybe to replace this not so good commanders. So one strike force will go here. This is a classic way on Xi'an. I also will bring the Mongolian army headquarters to create a second task force to clean up all of this mountain bandits. You not really need this hexes for the Japanese because you have here the main railway. This is the important stuff. This is all secondary task, but I won't get rid of them because maybe sooner or later KilRoy will do something with this, and if they come all together then they are strong enough to overthrow my garrison units. So it's simply only cleanup operation behind the line, but this is not the main front. The main front is maybe here more in the center around Kaifeng and Nanyang. This is this big movement trying to encircle maybe Chinese forces and not only push them hex by hex, maybe simply come behind them, maybe go on Xi'an, go on Nanyang and don't attack these forces, and then later after I can close here everything, then I can get rid of them. But encirclements will cost time, and the question is, what is your main purpose? You want to only destroy these Chinese forces, or you want to push on Lenshow as soon or as fast as possible? I also have a tech force going on in Changsha, but maybe I will not really go for Changsha. I only try to clean these roads and make sure that every force east of Changsha is destroyed. So maybe not main focus is not to capture every important city as soon as possible. Maybe main focus is first to clean up and establish a more nicely easy controlled front line. So get rid of all of these forces in south of China, everything east of Changsha. Take Nanchang, take Xi'an, then clean up all this pocket. And after this is done, maybe in end of January I can look forward to go for Changsha and then maybe Lenshow, something, roughly. roughly speaking. And you can also see that I still move nearly nothing out of Manchukuo because I'm still in organization mode in Manchukuo. Still units are moving around, and I really have only it's 3 tasks. Task number 1 is check every base where you need a garrison and get a unit to this hex with as low as possible disabled units. Everything what is heavily disabled I normally bring to Mukden, because Mukden is more or less my big command headquarter in Manchukuo. I will bring every HQ to this hex, and also here get the overall command of the Kwantung army. And I try to heal every damaged unit in this hex as soon as possible. Once it is disabled, I will judge if it's a frontline duty unit or only for garrison. Like this kind of unit, it's nearly now completely healed. Once this is done, but it has no overall greater upgrade pass, or you cannot create a real division out of this. So this is then for me a purely garrison unit, because I really want to use only full divisions, take out of Manchukuo and fight at the front line. Only with divisions and armor units and maybe artillery and anti-aircraft units I will bring to the front line to strike. And everything what is not a full division or shitty trained or something like this, I will keep back in front line to stay here in Manchukuo, stay in Shanghai, and wherever I need a lot of garrison. But this is only my playstyle, everyone else can do it different way. In Haben I have, because this is still ongoing, so it's still moving and nothing is perfect, so still needs more time. The 28th division I keep here in Mukden and in Haben, because in 20 days there's the last piece of this division coming, so it makes no sense to move all of these units out, so I keep them in Haben. Once this artillery is arrived, then I can move the 28th division out of Haben and move it maybe to the front line. But this is the only unit I keep in force in the other city. All the rest is normally going roughly to Mukden. In Mukden is then also my only airfield or airport I use for training. All Air Force in Mukden is only for training, it's only army. But they all stay in Mukden, more easy to maintain simply and to handle. Yeah. But this is only for organization questions. So nothing more to say about China. Nothing to say about Burma, no activity here. My Thai forces arrived here in Chumphon or Chumphon to make sure that there's no allied forces coming from Victoria Point to cut my railway. But looks like KilRoy is not doing this, so I can now move my 15th Army source and see where I can go, because you can go maybe to Kota Buru or Singora, then unload and then walk the western part, or I can go, if I try still to bring my tank forces here to Temol. And if I'm a little lucky, I can maybe open this railway, and then I can rail my 15th division up to this hex, and then maybe walk here west on the highway and then walk south. At the same time, I'm already shifting units from Kuantan, because I don't need here much more. These 2 tank units are enough to take this base and secure this railway. So I'm landing already forces in Mersing. I took the base. I have here also 1 tank unit. And with these forces, it's normally not enough to take go on Johor Bahru, but it's maybe enough to go to this hex and simply block every movement from Malaya, and deny every reinforcements to go to Singapore. Yeah, and you can also see here still some ships everywhere. I have here my Navy bombers on Navy attack and rest in second second duty because the fatigue is not high, but I have some units always going for a search, so some of these pilots always will go out and try to find something. And I have my HQ here already with torpedoes, but no successful torpedo attack maybe this last turn. Yeah. But at least you need this. And I also have some fighters here to give escort, but they just arrived, so there was... oh no, they're making escort duty. And they're using drop tanks, so you can see these fighters, they're going with my Navy bombers with a range of maximum 11. And I also tell my Navy bombers go maximum 11. And 11 is mainly because zeros can only go to 11 with normal radius with drop tanks. This give no additional fatigue. And 11 is also the range of Singapore. You can see 12 is already Singapore, and I don't want to bring this light escorted Navy bombers over the hex of Singapore. So I will stop one hex north of Singapore and make sure that the Strait of Malacca is more or less impossible more for every Navy unit to sail. And also, this is still in range 10. This is in range 11. So this is the main duty of this Navy bombers, to make sure every movement in this area is highly risky for KilRoy now. Submarines are looking, but this time I was not able to find too much stuff. My carriers are now here at Billington. I was hoping to maybe intercept here more shipping from Palmbang to Batavia, but looks like I'm already late. So maybe I will cruise east and try to block the Strait of Makassar Strait. Because here are still many ships going to Tarakan and maybe going to Balikpapan. So maybe if I park here and battle with this Dutch Air Force out of Java, so this is something I can maybe do. Mindanao, no real change. Here are still ships going to Tarakan. I have here some information. One ship is already in port. But every ship going to Tarakan is then trapped. I don't believe there's much more time left for KilRoy to get these ships out of Tarakan, because I will here increase my presence with more submarines and more cruisers, and it will be unlikely. But we will see. This is one ship moving west, so I believe this is maybe there's a destroyer or cruiser still crippled running around. I must try to catch it. It's only that this cruisers are all out of ammunition, so they cannot intercept more. But I have here a light cruiser formation, so maybe I use this formation to hunt this one ship, whatever it is. Yeah, not much here to say. I loading more units here. So I have here roughly 500 attack value in San Fernando, 650 in Lingayen, and 400 in Iba. It's all not very powerful to overthrow here all American resistance now. But it's every hex have enough attack power to walk forwards, and I need still bring in here in more reinforcements. At the end I need roughly maybe 2000 attack value to take Clarkfield, take Manila, and this needs more time. I still have one division. Here's Japan have a division in Shanghai. It's a Southern Army, so you can take this division. It's normally also ready for duty. You have a whole division in Shanghai waiting for replacement. You can use it in China, but this would be maybe waste, at least if you have the Manchukuo armies coming. So I would normally use this one and send it to Philippines as soon as possible to help there. It has the biggest impact there. The issue is only that you cannot take it out of Shanghai so easily because it's 450 attack value, and you must garrison Shanghai. So you must bring something to Shanghai what is less value for you that you can get your division out. It's a question of logistic. and planning. So good. This is here everything, not much more to say. Here's a one carrier division waiting and trying to sink this ships going to Tarakan. And I will, but the problem is with this two light carriers is they are really low on sorties. So light carriers, they have a capacity like a medium carrier, but the sorties and the torpedoes are maybe not the issue, but the sorties are much less. So a normal typical fleet carrier have a sortie capacity of around 450. We can check here the Helio. You can say 450 sorties. So triple the sorties and double the torpedo equipment. The capacity of airplanes is not much more, 48 to 71. So, but the sorties are the big change. So light carriers are really they're making one or two, maximum 3 strikes, and then normally must return to port. So this is why they are light carriers. Good, and in Rabaul, you can see Jochen is still, not Jochen, KilRoy have still some forces here, maybe scout bombers or something like this. I try to unload more forces here in the next days. Ships are coming here, ships are coming from the north. And ships are still here in the port making unloading. I only make no unloading. This was a mistake, of course. So I must start unloading again. And then more ships coming and more. And here I take this is only a pickup unit, so small Nauru Island, Ocean Islands. And Markin is also, now I will go to Tarawa. Good. I think this is first enough. Thank you all, take care, bye bye.